Hi, I'm your host, Katie Hacker, and our series of jewelry making workshops continues with today's special guest, Brenda Schweder. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Katie.
Brenda is an inventor, and she has some great ideas for solving jig questions and problems that people have.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Most people, when they use a jig, are having problems with actually getting the jig to be stable. They're fighting with the jig. It's moving around the table, and the pegs are falling out. So this jig is one that will stay put and sit tight. And so all of the, there's a bracket here, and that brackets to your table and anchors down so that you can have a nice stable work surface. And all of the holes that you can see, this particular jig is a clear anodized jig, and that has 451 tapped holes. So that when you punch through this template, which we'll show in a minute, all the pegs in your configuration that you happen to put together are going to sit tight and stay put.
And that's important for when you want to make these repeating motifs.
Exactly. And even if you just want to use one peg as a mandrel, for instance, it's just nice to have that stay put so that you can use your hands for creating instead of
yeah, it's a little. You have to think a little bit differently than when you're using handheld pliers.
Exactly.
When you're using a jig. So we're going to learn how to make this fox motif, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to show this today because this is something that's just a classic motif, and then we can use it in a lot of different ways. This particular motif comes in a vellum template pattern. You can see that right here. And this pattern was put right on top. You can see it actually matches the exact top of this jig. And we take our puncher tool and punch through to get that right on there. And these are just sort of like big thumbtacks. This one's already punched so that our template stays in place. And it's kind of a nice thing for people who just want something to work with that they know they can do and to get started, especially if they're not used to using jig. Okay, so we're all set to go. Should we make a flox?
Yes, let's see you do it.
Alrighty. The other first accessory that I usually recommend to people, the very first thing, is this swivel lock. And you can see it's kind of like a cam, and it's drilled off center so that you can lock it against any peg, and then that's going to hold your wire in place. So we're just going to go around this guy here. I'm thinking about where I'm going next.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of planning, I think, when you use a jig, and the template would be a great way to make that easy to repeat it, too.
It's not everyone's, there are certain people that get the jig and they're just very, very interested in just playing and putzing, but not everyone. Some people like a pattern.
Sure.
So what I did is I just put that in place, and you can see now my hands are free to create. So I'm just whoops. And so,
tighten it back.
It wasn't quite tight on there. Operator error. Okay, so now we've got that, and we're just going to move around here. I'm going around every other one, which is exactly what my instructions say here.
Okay.
Okay, but going through the middle, going past, okay, and then we're going to skip that one, and we're going to fill in the pegs that we haven't done yet. Okay. If I need, this is kind of a small area between here, I have this lifter tool that we'll use in a minute. We can also sort of hold things in place if we need to. Okay, I'm just going to loosen up my swivel lock here. Now this I've basically gone around all the pegs once, but if I wanted like more layers, I can just keep going, creating different layers. Okay, so we're going to swivel that out of the way, and we're going to finish that up right there.
All right, so can we take it off and see what it looks like, just the single layer?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll take a look at the different samples that you brought, because you have a lot of ideas for how you can use the same design.
Right, exactly. What I'm doing is I'm just connecting these real quick here so it doesn't just boing off when we take it off, but I'm using the lifter, and I'm just kind of going around and getting our little flox motif up and off of here.
And you're working on the corner here. Is that so that you can see this while you're working? Or would you also, you could work right on top of this if you wanted to?
What this is this particular one is the medium flox.
Oh, I see.
Because we have, on this pattern, we have small, medium, and large.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
this one just happened to be in the upper corner.
I see.
We just want enough room to get at it.
Yeah.
And so here's our little motif. It's a flox. And that's just the beginning element that you can use in any number of ways.
Oh, that's so cool. And let's take a look at the different samples that you have here.
Great.
This necklace, you have it layered over the top. This one, you have the tiny ones connected together.
Right.
This is really beautiful too. And of course, you can just keep working on your jig.
Keep working on the jig. And I just wanted to point out too that this is the large, medium, and small nested together. And what we've done here is we've taken 3 layers of petals and just bent some of them up to actually become a prong. And that's the only thing that's holding that crystal in there.
Oh, that's a great idea, Brenda.